In this video, we're going to go over how to get quests up and running with Quest Map Pro. Now, I've gone through and finished off the quests in here, so I'll show you what they look like without Quest Map Pro in. Okay, so in here, you can see there's some quest text at the top, and we've got a quest giver over here. So if we go talk to him, get a little bit of dialogue. He says to find hidden chests. The mini map doesn't fade away. I've not done too much in regards to that. He tells us to find a chest. The chest is here. It wasn't activated before that. So before all the chests were activated, but now, for instance, I'll show you the next one. The next one he's going to activate is just over here. If I stand here, this chest is not working. So the quest wants me to go back and talk to him. And then he'll tell us to go to this one. So obviously at the moment, there's nothing popping up on the map. There's nothing anywhere at all showing up here. But now the chest works. That advanced quest. So there's 3 quests in total, and I've set them up using just a very basic quest manager. So we've got a data table here, and we give the quest a name, we give a quest giver, and then we just set up all these stages here. So this is just a little system I've designed. Give it text, which is what shows up in the top right corner, the quest goal, which shows up above that more bold, and then there's 6 types of quests. We've got talk quests, visit quests, collect quests, target quests, kill count and kill target, and external. Now, so talk is just talk to someone, visit is just go to a location, collect I didn't end up using, kill target is kill a specific AI, kill count is get a certain amount of kills, and then external is used for other things. We've got a quest giver to talk to, that's for the talk type. Got the conversation text, a location for the visit one, and then we're using gameplay tags for everything else. And the kill target is just the count that you need. So I'll go through this a little bit more as we go. But basically what we want to do is we want to implement Quest Map Pro into this. Now, I need to make it very clear that this is not how you're going to implement Quest Map Pro into every quest system. Every quest system is going to be different. You're either going to design your own or get one off the marketplace, and the way they work is going to vary from one to another. I've tried to design the quest manager in this example project to be a general representation of how things might work, but it may vary from quest to quest, from system to system. So this one works very simply. We have a little initialize here. We've got a start quest and a complete quest, and then we've got advanced current quest. They're the only things we're interested in for the purpose of this. All these other ones we'll use in bits, but they're not super important. Now, the first thing we want to do is jump into our controller, because we don't want to have the quest map components talking to this quest manager component and back and forth. We're going to use our controller as a bridge between the two systems. So to do this, we're going to create a new function. We're going to call this add new quest marker. So what we're going to do is we're going to hook it up so that the quest manager calls this function whenever we should be getting a new quest marker on the map. Now in here, I'm just going to pull up my reference here because this one is a little bit more detailed. We want to add 2 inputs. So we'll just add 2. First one we're going to call location, and that needs to be a vector. And the second one we're going to call quest data. And we want to use the Quest Map Pro quest data. So this one, not that one, sorry. This one here, str Quest Map Pro quest data. So this is a structure. If we just pull this out and break this, we can look at what this uses. This is all the things that are needed for the marker. So we'll just leave that down there. Actually, we'll get rid of that. We don't need that. Then what we want to do is we want to use a reference to our Quest Map Pro manager, and we want to go remove quest at index. Now, for the purpose of this integration, we're just going to assume that you're only going to ever want one quest active at any time. If you're going to do something more advanced than that, you will obviously have a way to get these indexes from your quest manager. This quest manager only ever runs one quest at once, so it's very simplistic in that way. Likewise, we're only using main quests here, but the setup is the same if you're using side quests. You just need to make sure you're feeding it that data appropriately. So we're just going to remove the quest at index 0. We're going to copy paste the reference to the manager there, and we're going to hit add quest. And we're just going to put that one there, and we're just going to give it this data here. And we're going to enable auto highlight in this case. Again, I'm just working with very basic setups here to get you guys started on how you might want to do that. So if you don't want to automatically highlight the quest, that's obviously up for you to decide. That's all we need in this function. So we can compile and save that one. And we can close our controller, I believe. Let me just double check. We do have one other step actually. So leave a controller open for a second. In this quest manager, there's currently no reference to the controller, and we need a reference to the controller. So on this initialize function, we're just going to add a input. We're going to call this controller ref, and we're just going to make it the demo controller class. So BP demo controller is our class. We're going to do that one there. Compile and save that, and then back in the controller, we just want to go to the event graph, and we want to find where we run that initialize command, which is just here, and we want to give it a reference to self. There are other ways to do this, but this is the quickest and easiest way to get it going without using casting. Now with that, we should be able to close our controller, I believe. Yep, we're going to close that one up, and we're going to do a couple of little things in here in our quest manager. So again, let me just pull up where we are. We want to save this controller reference on startup, so just call this controller. Hook that up in there. That can just stay there for now. Now also, because quest map takes a second or two to initialize everything, we're going to just add in a short delay here before starting the first quest. So let's just make this say 2 seconds. A neater system would have them all initialized together, but we're just working quick and dirty here. Now in the start quest, we need to add a new function. So let's create a new function here. This is all a bit messy, ignore that. So let's create a new function, and we'll just call this add quest marker. Now in this, we want to give it a input of stage, call it stage data or something along those lines. And we want to set the variable to str quest stage. Now I'll show you where we're getting that from. If we open up the data table that we use for quests, the stuff we're interested in, we don't really care about the quest name or the quest giver. We only care about this stage data because this is where we're going to be defining the markers. So like in this first one, we want a marker that goes to the yellow, farmer yellow. In the second one, we want it to go to the chest. So we want to use this data here to drive our markers. So if we look at the data that this data table uses, I'm not actually sure if there's a way to see that. Yeah, here we go. So if we click on data table details, row struct is quest data. So we can look at that one, which is this one here. And in here, our quest stages is defined by str quest stage. So we can then use quest stage, which is this one here, as this variable type. Now, if we jump back to the event graph, and in here, just before this branch, we want to add our new nodes. Add quest marker there. And we just want to use this one here, which is the current quest stage, to fuel that. We also want to add that to advanced current quest. Let me just have a look at where I did that one. This one is even messier. This will probably be cleaned up in the version you guys downloaded. But between update quest text and the switch, we just want to add in the quest marker. And we want to use the stage data variable here for that one. They can all be closed, those functions. So let's just get back into the event graph and close everything else. And we do actually want this one open, actually. Okay, so in here, we're going to do a couple of things. We're going to get stage data. This is the same as dragging off there, but it just allows us to be a bit neater. And we're going to pull off this and break it so we have access to everything in here. Now, to begin with, we're going to do a couple of things. We're going to save location as a local variable and just call that something like target location. And we're going to use the stage type to do a switch. We can hide the rest of these ones. Now, so what we're doing here is we're taking the location in the data table. So we're taking this value here and storing it so that if we want to use that as where our marker spawns, we can do so. And then what we're going to do is run some separate logic based on the type of stage it is. So like for a talk quest where we want to talk to a character, we want to attach the quest marker to an actor rather than just using a location. That way if your quest giver is walking around or something, it'll follow them. That sort of thing. Now, we do have to add a little bit of extra data into the data table. So in here, we need to add something. Now, adding data to data tables can be pretty risky. What I would recommend you do at this point is close everything, hit save all, then restart your project before doing this. I'm going to just do it here and hope it works okay. We want to go into quest stage and we want to add a variable. We're going to call this quest map data, and we're going to set this to str quest map pro quest data. This one here. We're going to hit save, we're going to close, then we're going to once again hit save all and then restart your project. So I'm going to restart the project and we'll be right back. Okay, so we are back now, and the first thing to do is open up the data table. We're also going to open up the controller because I know that on a previous attempt at this, that made the engine crash. It did not here, so that's good. Adding in data into data tables can be a little bit risky. There are chances of corrupting your project, so I really do recommend you save and restart before and after doing it, and also back up your project at any point. Okay, so now we have our quest map data here, so we can give each stage a name. So let's just go through and do the first quest here for beginners. So our marker is going to be Farmer Yellow, so let's just call it Farmer Yellow. This is going to be a main quest. We're going to use an attached quest type. So Quest Map Pro has 3 types of quest markers: location, which is just for a specific location; area, which is where you give it an area to highlight; and attached, which is when you attach it to an actor. For most of these, we're going to actually be using attached. So in that case, our area radius doesn't work. We're not going to set the attached actor in here because you can't do that, and the quest actor should never be set. So that is it for stage 1. For stage 2, we're going to a hidden chest. So we're going to call this one hidden chest. And again, we're going to do it as an attached one, and that's everything. For index 2, which is stage 3, we're going back to Farmer Yellow again. So we're just doing the same thing. In fact, what we can do is copy the quest map data here and just paste that into here. And that will do that. For index 3, we're going back to a hidden chest. So we could copy it, but let's just do hidden chest. We're going to do attached. And then for the last one, we're back to Farmer Yellow. So let's just paste that in there. And that is our first quest done. So let's set up the remaining logic we need to do. We need to open our quest manager again. And we're in here. So here's where things get a little bit more complicated. Eventually, what we're going to do is we're going to use the controller to call that function we made. So add new quest marker. And in this, we're going to feed it the target location. And we're going to give it a made-up version of this using the input. So I'll move that further away, actually, just maybe over here, because we need to add some stuff in the middle here afterwards. So we're going to need to populate all of this. Let's get our stage data, which was the input we've got over here. And we can break this, not set. We can break this and use most of this. Actually, not most of this. We want to break this one here as well. So this is the data we've added into the data table. We can hide the unconnected pins. And here, we want to drag the name over to the name, type, class, area radius, but we don't want to do these other two. So if you hover over quest actor, it says here this should not be set manually, so we're going to ignore that one. And the attached actor, we want to use the quest manager to say what that is. So we're going to hide the unconnected pins there. And we're just going to bring this over and make sure it's neat. And what we're going to do, so this is just a base actor. We're going to promote this to a local variable, and we're going to call this target actor. So if we were to hook this up now, which we can do, we're going to see some things happening. And in fact, at some stages, it might even work out. It will work in 1 or 2 stages. Most stages, the location is not going to be right, though. So you can see we've got a quest marker. It's over here. And that's because we haven't told it to target this actor. So in the quest manager, we have this set up here where we find the quest giver. I'm just trying to work out where it is. Start quest. It's here somewhere. Here, we've got this one here, which is get quest giver reference. So we can just use this function in here. Again, this is not going to be in your quest system, but you want a way to get the target actor that you're using for your quest. So in this case, we're going to use that. We're going to use a copy of stage data. We're going to break that. Not set again. And in here, we want to use get quest giver, a quest giver to talk to. And we want to use, I've forgotten what it was called again. Get quest giver reference. Yeah. We can hide the rest of these. So again, all this is doing is it's using some logic here to return which quest giver we've got. So we're piggybacking off the system that I set up for the quests, and we're just going to use that to set our target actor. And we only want to do that for the talk one. Move this out of, move that out of the way. Move them down and over. I just want this to be a bit more readable. Put that up there. And then we can hook that up to here. So we should now have our talking stages working correctly. And there we go. So we've got the quest when it's targeting him, we've got that working. And it shows up on the map. The marker says farmer yellow. And when we talk to him, it should now move. Now again, we haven't set it up to say go to the chest actor. So that's just going to be going to 0, 0 at the moment. Now, there's a couple of ways we could do this. Either you could, in your data table, manually set the locations every time for the chests. But because I've designed this, I know that I'm already using a function here called find target actor. And what this does is goes through the list of the quest actors and it gives a reference to the target actor. So we're going to reuse that in here in our add quest marker. So this is for external ones here. So we're going to, once again, get stage data. We're going to break that. And in here, we're going to use the quest target tag. So the quest system I built for this is using gameplay tags. We're going to use find target actor. We can hide the rest of those. And for external, we want to plug that into there. Now, we only want to use this if there is a match. This way, if a match is not found, maybe you're using an external system that doesn't have a target actor, it will revert to this. So if that works, we want to set this as our target actor. If it doesn't, we just want to hook back into that. And then from our target actor, we want to go target get actor location. So this shouldn't matter because we're actually setting it to the target, but just to make sure, we're also going to set the target location. And then we're going to hook that back up onto this. So now we should see, we go over here and talk to this guy. And now it's highlighting where the chest is. So if we go down to the chest, now it activates and now it goes back to him. And that's actually going to cover most of the examples in here. We'll just keep going till we hit the end of this quest. I don't think we're going to actually run into one that doesn't work. But we do have a couple more examples of how to set this up here. So now it's going to give us a 0, 0, 0 because we only set up the first quest, and that's the end of the first quest. So if we jump back into our data table, we go to quest 2, quest 2, and we go to stage 0. We want to look here. So Farmer Red is our target, and we're just going to do attached. Because that's all set up, that's fine. Index 2, we're going to look for the axe. Now this is a location, and I don't think I already set that, but let's have a look. Maybe I already did. I'm not sure how that worked. So we're going to click on this one. Nope, we haven't. We're going to copy that. That's our location for the axe. Oh, wait, no, we want to go to the stump right now. So I did set that. Because yep. Ignore me. This is not a quest map data. So in this case, we're actually going to use the visit type, which is here, which means we want to set this just to location. And we're going to call this tree stump. And none of this other stuff is important here. For number 3, we're going to go talk to Farmer Blue. So we're going to go into here. We're going to call it Farmer Blue. And we're going to set this as an attached. And for the last one, we're actually telling the player that it's somewhere in the forest. So we're going to use this location of the forest. And we're going to set an area for this one. So let's have a look in top. Go to where the forest is. And let's say we want it to cover from here to here. If we measure that, it's about 750 seems like a good amount. That'll give us a circle of that area where the axe is there. So let's paste that location that we just copied. Just make sure that's the right one. It is. And let's set the area radius down in the quest map data to 750. We want this one to be an area, and we want to call this forest area. So we'll go through and we'll just finish these up before we demonstrate them. You know what? Let's go through the first 2 quests. Just a little bit tedious doing these quests over and over. So we go through, talk to Farmer Yellow. Jump down here, open that chest. There's nothing in it. Report back to him. So we go back to him. He tells us that the chest was empty. I don't know why. Go check the next one. So we go check the next one. Let's turn off the mini-map for these. Well, let's turn it on and we'll turn it off as we talk to him. As I feared, local bandits stolen my good. I don't feel comfortable revealing where the other chests are until those bandits are dealt with. Go talk to Red. I bet they'd lend you their axe. So we go over, go talk to Red over here. Red says, you want to borrow my axe? Yeah, sure. I think I left it at the stump. If not, Blue might have seen it. So we go down to the stump. So this is the one using a location, which means as soon as we walk to it, it should update. Yep. Then we go around. So we're going to talk to Farmer Red now. Farmer Blue. Talk to Blue. He says it's in the forest. Now, if we look on the map, we will see that this is doing an area. It's on the edge of the map, so we can't actually see the entire area. But let's head down there. You can see it's highlighted the entire area. And our axe is sitting right there. Pick up the axe, and now we've got to go back to Farmer Yellow. And that will be the end of this quest. So let's continue on. Oh, we've got an error here. What is that from? Not sure what that one is. Looks like it's in my chest though, so I don't think it's tied to Quest Map Pro. Just disregard that for now. So then the other quests we have is quest 3. We've got to talk to Farmer Yellow. So once again, in the quest map data, we're going to go Farmer Yellow. And we're going to set that to attached. In this one, we need to kill 2 bandits. So we're going to give this one an area because we're going to just tell the player where the 2 bandits are. Let's go back to perspective so we can see. And we can just use the bandit camp route here, I think. So we'll copy that. The collider radius is 1600, so we can use that as a rough guide. If we go into here, we go location, paste. and because we're using the location here, we don't care about the location for the quest, but for the quest marker we do. So we're going to say bandit camp is the name, and we're going to set that to an area, and we'll say about 1,000. For the next stage, we need to actually kill the bandit leader. So for this one, I'm going to call it bandit leader, and we're going to set this one to attached, and we'll need to set up a little bit of extra logic for that. For quest 3, we're going to call it farmer yellow, and we'll set that to attached. And for the final stage, I didn't actually set up a end when there's no quest, so we're just going to leave that, and it will set a marker to 0, 0, 0. We'll just ignore that. Obviously, in your quest manager system, you're probably going to have a setup, where it removes them, and all you would need to do in that case is just call this function here. So on your quest complete, you just remove this one. So in here, we do need to set up a little bit of extra logic for the kill target. Now, the way I've designed the quest manager, we can just use this logic here again, because it's all done with the gameplay tags, which is a really good system. I wouldn't recommend using this quest manager in your game. It's very limited, but it is probably a good starting point to look at on how you might design your own using gameplay tags. So with that, we should be able to play through everything, and it should all work. So we're going to go through the quest one more time here. So go over, talk to Farmer Yellow. Go down, find the chest. This is why I shouldn't have done this before. I'll just speed this up until we get to the new quests. Okay, and here we are with the new section. So the new part tells us to go up here to the bandit camp, and we want to look for some bandits. As we get close, it will give us a combat marker on the compass. These guys aren't going to attack, they're just set up to die. Just walk over and hit E, that one dies. Same with this one, and then it tells us to kill the bandit leader, which is this guy. And if we just let him walk around, you'll see it updates. Really, guy, you did such a tiny walk. So it's all set up to automatically use the attached marker. We can kill him, and then we go back to Farmer Yellow for the reward. And that will activate the last 3 chests, and then the player can just find them using the compass. And that's it. So like I said, it's given us a marker up there for some reason instead of 0, 0, 0, but that's because we haven't set up a complete stage. So that is everything. That is how you would set up quests in this project. Now, obviously, I need to state once more, your quest manager is likely going to work differently. The important thing to know is that you need to be giving it this data here for a marker. And you can make a little function like this one here to remove the last one and add the new one. If you're going to have multiple quests, you're going to use side quests, all that sort of thing, it gets more complicated, but it's pretty easy. You should be able to work it out between this and the demo level, should give you enough info to get started. Just want to give it this data, and you don't want to give it the quest actor. If you're going to use attached actor quests, then you need to have a way to tell it to update this. Hopefully that's helpful. This is the end of the basic integration series. I will be doing more videos in the future covering more advanced things such as how to get better quality maps, some software that you can use to make graphical art maps, custom collision channels to make the whole system work better with other systems and be a bit more performant, all that sort of thing. But this should have everything covered to get you up and running. If you have any questions, please feel free to reach out via email. There is a Discord, or leave comments in the bottom of these videos, guys. Thank you very much, and enjoy working with QuestMap Pro.